raise your right hand.
It's the political drama that's dividing a nation.
January 6th was an attack on our country. A sitting president with a violent mob trying to stop the peaceful transfer of power from one president to another.
We have a breach of the Capitol!
In the heart of America's capital, a powerful group of lawmakers is exposing what really happened that day.
I made it clear I did not agree with the idea of saying the election was stolen and putting out this stuff, which I told the president was bullshit.
Make no mistake, this election was stolen from you, from me, and from the country.
At the centre of it, Republican royalty Liz Cheney. She's risking it all to take on her party and her former president.
Tonight, I say this to my Republican colleagues who are defending the indefensible. There will come a day when Donald Trump is gone, but your dishonor will remain.
For her stand, she's been cast out by her own, stripped of her leadership position and labelled a traitor.
The people of Wyoming are going to tell her, Liz, you're fired. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Now, Cheney is on the verge of losing her Wyoming seat in Congress when voters head to the polls in a few days.
She's been focused completely on the January 6th Commission when people here are worried about the price of food at the grocery store.
Thousands of kilometres from the political elites in Washington, D.C., Wyoming has found itself at the centre of a bitter battle for the soul of the Republican Party. The state, with the smallest population and the lowest representation in government, has become symbolic of the deep fissures within the party.
It's a battle between the Trump Republican Party and the Republican Party of the past. I think it's dividing the community terribly.
Welcome to the Wild West state of Wyoming, where cowboys roam and vast wilderness surrounds.
We only have 500,000 people in the entire state. I think there's more antelope than there are people, is the common saying. We feel unique because there aren't very many of us, and it's not uncommon to run into the governor in the grocery store or your neighbor at the rodeo.
Mark Iserly was born and raised on a ranch on the outskirts of Wyoming's capital, Cheyenne. He's a lifelong Republican in a state where 70% of voters backed Donald Trump in 2020.
I was a big supporter of President Trump. His policies in places like Washington, D.C., where I frequent, they were very positive for the country. They're very positive for Wyoming. His personality, some people think he's incredibly abrasive, but he's a businessman. And Wyoming and its economy is about business.
And who are you going to vote for?
I'm going to support Liz Cheney.
And why?
She's very much in touch. She's very personable and she's very approachable.
Do you think that Ms. Cheney's stance on President Donald Trump will impact her ability to win here?
It's possible. A lot of folks really support her because she was principled about it. If she really thinks something went on that was not right, it took a lot of courage to stand up and look into it. She might be wrong. She might be right.
How would you describe the state of the Republican Party in Wyoming?
It is probably not good. It's a tough time here in Wyoming. We're going to have to see where the chips fall.
Wyoming Republicans will soon vote in the primary elections to choose the candidate they want to represent them in Washington, D.C. Liz Cheney was a supporter of Trump. She backed his legislation more than 90% of the time. But when she took him on over his stolen election lie, anger towards her grew. Now she's receiving death threats.
How are you? Good to see you. Good, thanks. You too.
The candidates are meeting for a debate. Security is tight, and the public has been excluded. As the incumbent, Liz Cheney is vying for a fourth term.
There's a real tragedy that's occurring, and the tragedy is that there are politicians in this country, beginning with Donald Trump, who have lied to the American people. People have been betrayed. We are now embracing a cult of personality, and I won't be part of that, and I will always stand for my oath and stand for the truth.
Thank you, Representative Cheney.
But this time, the odds are stacked against her. Trump is backing born and bred Wyomingite Harriet Hageman.
Ms. Hageman.
Well, it is wonderful to be here tonight, and I want to thank you for sponsoring this and for the audience being here.
In 2016, Hageman tried to block his nomination for president. Now she's singing his praises.
The people of Wyoming do not believe that they're being represented in Congress right now because our representative doesn't come to Wyoming. She focuses an awful lot of time on the January 6th committee, but she's not addressing the issues that are important to Wyoming.
Trump's endorsement has helped push her into the lead. We're heading to Liz Cheney's corner of the state, the Northwest. It's close to Yellowstone National Park. Ms. Cheney's lying low, but we managed to find some close family friends.
It's just beautiful. The greenery. I bet the elk are hanging in down there.
John Turner is old school Republican. His family have owned property here for generations. He runs this tourist ranch with his wife, Mary Kay.
Is this a new horse he's breaking?
Yeah, it's one of Chad's. I just renamed it.
What'd you name it?
They called him Sleeping Indian.
Yeah?
I said Rawhide.
Oh, I like rawhide.
Derek liked Rawhide better.
The couple has only ever voted Republican. They backed Donald Trump, but their party, they say, has lost its way.
I'm dismayed, I'm disturbed about what I see going on in certain political figures where we have these circular firing squads. We're too busy shooting one another. Hi, kiddos.
Hi, what?
You ready to go riding?
John's not just a curious observer. He's deeply connected with the Republican Party.
I worked a lot with the U.S. Congress, both sides of the aisle, and I think the atmosphere was more congenial, respectful. People listen to one another, work together. Not necessarily always agreeing, but respecting one another's positions. There are a lot of good Republicans that are not happy with some of the things we see going on today. Well, old girl, you ready to go to work?
He held senior positions under both Bush administrations and worked with former Vice President Dick Cheney and his daughter Liz Cheney at the State Department.
Well, I've known Liz for years and years. I saw in Liz, first of all, a real focus. My gosh, her record is so conservative. And I know she's one of the most respected, informed, and articulate voices in Washington on issues important to Wyoming. National security, a strong armed forces.
Thank you for having us. What a beautiful house you have.
Thank you.
How long have you lived here?
Let's see, 25 years?
Wow.
Thank you.
It's a long time. It's very peaceful and tranquil. So what have we got here?
Well, we've got some photographs. For years, Liz has come to our ranch to ride and came as a little girl when she was about 8 or 9 years old. And this is Liz and her father, Vice President Cheney, and John riding up for breakfast. We value the family like the closest we've had friends, and this is on the trail. There's her dad.
For almost half a century, the Cheney family has represented Wyoming in politics. But the political dynasty is now on rocky ground. Do you think it's a battle between the Trump Republican Party and the establishment Republican?
I think it's a battle between the Trump Republican Party for sure and the Republican Party of the past, the one I've always known and always supported all my life. I think it's dividing the community terribly.
The Turners are in the minority in Wyoming. Polls show that Republican support for Liz Cheney has crashed 40% over the past 2 years.
We've only heard one side of things from the January 6th Commission. The only thing that they talk about is their side of the issue, and we haven't heard much from the other side at all.
700 kilometres southeast of Cheney's hometown is the small working-class farming community of Torrington.
And there's our Hageman for Congress sign that Corey put up yesterday.
Sherry Steinmetz is a staunch Trump supporter and was elected as a state senator in 2014. She's backing Liz Cheney's opponent, Harriet Hageman.
I don't see a lot of signs showing support for Liz Cheney.
Her support is lacking in Goshen County. She was on Main Street, just a few doors down at one of her supporters, the only supporters I know of in Torrington. There were about 3 people in their store to greet her, and then she had the rest of the Main Street lined with Torrington police officers for her safety. Apparently, she's afraid of all of us, so yeah. All of us law-abiding citizens. I think she even knows that her days are numbered here in the state of Wyoming. She's been just focused completely on the January 6th Commission. When people here are worried about the price of food at the grocery store, the price of gas, most of her time is spent trying and convict Donald Trump.
The nearby town of LaGrange is hosting an ice cream social.
It was crazy. It was, oh my gosh. Well, good to see you guys. Take care.
It's a way for neighbouring communities to come together.
A lot of new faces that I haven't seen before, yeah.
I don't find anyone supporting Liz Cheney's race for re-election.
She's an elitist. She's not pumping gas into her tank. She's not paying another $1.50 for a dozen eggs. So she just is not paying attention. I know there's this J6 thing, and that's a joke, and she's just doing it because Trump called her out, rightfully so.
I'm so excited. It'll be my privilege to cast my vote for Harry Hageman,
Absolutely.
the Trump candidate, and see Cheney gone.
We're going to throw her out, and it'll be the best thing that ever happened to Wyoming and America.
United States, President Donald J. Trump.
This is MAGA country. This is MAGA country. In fact, they gave us a new name. They made a little mistake with this one. This is Ultra MAGA country.
To make sure Liz Cheney doesn't win the Republican nomination for Congress, Donald Trump is on the hustings in Wyoming.
Liz Cheney hates the voters of the Republican Party, and she has for longer than you would know. Wyoming deserves a congresswoman who stands up for you and your values, not one who spends all of her time putting you down, going after your president in the most vicious way possible.
He's here to throw his support behind Harriet Hageman.
I know Wyoming. I love Wyoming.
I am Wyoming. And I will be taking that fight to D.C. just as soon as I defeat Liz Cheney. The January 6th Commission and those people who think that they can gaslight us. And we're fed up with Liz Cheney.
The crowd, the building was shaking. They were so invigorated and so excited, and most of them had Harriet Hageman signs in their hands. And I think she's the best chance for the state of Wyoming as well to have a voice at the national level. I think she will prevail.
We've come to the town of Lander. It's July 4th, America's Day of Independence. With the election approaching, Harriet Hageman is looking like a winner. Ms. Hageman, we're from Australian TV. Can we just ask you some questions about your campaign?
After we get done with the parade.
Is that okay if we follow you then? Is that just to get some pictures? We're
here to talk to people.
We're trying to cover your campaign.
We're in the middle of a parade right now.
No, that's okay.
We're trying to go talk to voters.
Can we just ask you a couple of questions regarding the campaign?
I'm sorry. You're going to have to talk through Tim Murtaugh.
Well, we've already spoken to lots of people. Ms. Hageman, have you got anything to say just in relation to the race here?
The race is
on the
going
ground?
very, very well.
Yeah,
it's going very well.
So why take on Ms. Cheney?
For all of the reasons I've said on the campaign, which is she's not representing Wyoming. She's not here today.
Yep.
She doesn't represent Wyoming. She doesn't represent our values. In fact, she's not really addressing any of the issues that are important to the people in the United States of America. Inflation, an open border, all of those things are so much more important than what she's doing. She's focusing on things that are not important. The polls have come out. In Wyoming, there was a reporter that interviewed 19 people in Wyoming. Not one of them cared about January 6th. She's not doing what Wyoming wants her to do.
Do you think she's a traitor? Like some people branded her?
We're going to go on about our day. Thank you so much.
I answered some questions.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. As Republican voters desert her, Liz Cheney remains undeterred. We came to Washington, D.C. to see her in action.
We have covered significant ground over the past several weeks.
As Vice Chair and the most senior Republican on the January 6th committee, Cheney has joined her Democrat colleagues in laying out their findings to the public.
The committee has established key facts, including that virtually everyone close to President Trump all told him the 2020 election was not stolen.
Be advised, there's probably about 300 Proud Boys. They're marching eastbound in this 400 block of kind of Independence, actually on the mall towards the United States Capitol.
Donald Trump issued a tweet that would galvanize his followers, unleash a political firestorm. On January 6th, Trump knew the crowd was angry. He knew the crowd was armed. He sent them to the Capitol anyway.
Their investigation has uncovered new and shocking footage.
And Donald Trump cannot escape responsibility by being willfully blind.
In rare bipartisanship, Cheney has become an unlikely ally of leading Democrat Jamie Raskin. He's sat alongside her through days of bruising testimony. I caught up with him during a recess in the committee's hearings. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for giving us the time.
You bet. Nice to see you.
You're all facing a lot of heat from this, no more than Liz Cheney. She's been outcast by her own party. She's been labelled a traitor by her own party and also the people in Wyoming. You know, what does she stand to lose?
I mean, just her country and the democracy, you know. I think that Liz is a constitutional patriot, and she is showing people how you rise above your political party. There are lots of death threats out there, and there are a lot of guns out there, and Liz is hanging tough, and she's being brave. Like, you know, all of us are devoted to getting to the truth. Those of us who are on the January 6th Select Committee are brothers and sisters in this pursuit for the truth about what happened.
We've just been on the ground in Wyoming. I can tell you they're not watching it.
It is a sad thing that there is some number of people in the country who are so propagandized and so indoctrinated and so brainwashed that they can't even hear the truth from people in their party. So, I mean, that's a question for cognitive psychologists and cult deprogrammers.
Is the purpose to eventually end up in criminal charges against Donald Trump?
I want to make sure that American democracy survives, and that is a proposition at odds with Donald Trump ever getting anywhere near the White House again.
Back in Wyoming, there are some Republicans who feel completely under siege.
Hi.
Hi.
Just saying hello.
Hi.
35-year-old Landon Brown has been a Wyoming state politician for 6 years.
I'm a Republican, and I support Liz Cheney, and I've taken a lot of barbs as an elected official for that over the past year and a half. It's been a kind of a rough road.
His family and friends are divided over the attention given to the Capitol riots compared to the Black Lives Matter protests of 2020.
I don't think he was responsible for inciting violence or an insurrection. I guarantee you, if it was an insurrection, it would have been, probably the Capitol would have burned down.
What do you think stopped it from burning down?
It wasn't violent. It wasn't a violent, intentional, we're gonna go destroy everything like we saw all summer with the riots of 2020. We're totally ignoring all of that and focusing on this one incident.
My problem with January 6th is if you're gonna go after, Trump and whoever was involved with that, you better go after the other side just as hard. Because my city burned and nobody did anything.
What I don't want to see and what I'm scared of is I don't want to see another president, period, have the influence that Donald Trump had over our electoral process. That's the crap that scares me. Trying to stop an electoral count, trying to go down that way of saying, nope, I won, this is all rigged, with little to no proof, losing 60 plus court battles, all those types of things. It's like, anybody actually okay with the freaking fact that Donald Trump lost but refuses to admit it? Beyond Trump, what do you feel that Cheney has not done to represent you?
I think she's done a lot of great things, but she lost all of my trust and all of my respect when she went after former President Trump because of that, when she went after him for that. Like, I think that's no longer representing the people of Wyoming.
After he publicly supported Liz Cheney, Landon received many death threats.
I in no way envisioned being in a situation where my serving meant that I was going to be verbally abused and put in a position where not only was I being verbally abused, but verbally attacked and even threatened.
You almost didn't run for another term. Why?
I was sick of the politics. I was sick of being threatened. I was sick of every morning waking up either to an email, a text message, a voicemail. I can't imagine what some of these other people, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, these people that are literally out there in the national media. Thick skin only goes so far.
Shared enemies create unusual alliances. As election day looms, polls are so bad for Liz Cheney, she's hoping Democrats from her local town will come out to support her. Mike Fisher's one of them. He's registered to vote for her in the Republican primary race.
You know, the world needs more people like her that stand up for what's going on. I think she's extremely commendable. Like 5 years ago, I never would have voted for her, not in a million years. But now I wouldn't vote for anybody else.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Mike. Appreciate that.
Of course.
I would be so sorry to see someone like Liz Cheney lose, because it's more than Liz Cheney that loses. We lose a lot of Republicans like her and her thinking that care a great deal for our country, not just for one person, a former president. He had his time. He was defeated. We have to move on.
I've become that person. I've become that person with a fat word. It's Trump country here, and his policies were great for the state of Wyoming. So I think we're going to see record turnout. It is truly a transformational race, not just a critical one, but I think it is transformational for our country.
Liz Cheney's put her political career on the line. She'll know her fate in 5 days. If she loses, it will tighten Donald Trump's grip over the party and reinforce his brand of populist politics.
That the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Judge Ludig, thank you as well for being here with us today. You issued a very important statement earlier today, which I urge all Americans to read.